Are you stuck in your house with nothing to do? Erin is here to bake with you. Quarantine Baking with Erin.
Hi, and welcome to Quarantine Baking with Erin. Today, we will be making butter pecan ice cream. We're making butter pecan ice cream because ice cream is my favorite dessert in the whole world, but I like butter pecan ice cream a lot, but not in the same way that I feel about like vanilla or cookies and cream. So I feel like I can have this in the house and still keep my cool and still practice moderation with desserts. Also, it's Michael's absolute favorite, I think. He keeps asking for it. Okay, so to get started, we're gonna take 1 tablespoon of butter and we're gonna melt that. Round burner. I'm just gonna melt it on medium. And we are going to toast in a 1/2 cup of chopped pecans. We'll just put this all in together. Let me grab a stirry guy. The technical term, stirry guy. And we're just gonna toast this for 5 to 6 minutes. So I usually do these steps separately, but we're gonna try and multitask today because new year, new me. Actually, I love multitasking. Okay, so we're gonna let this, I'm gonna keep it on medium and stir it from time to time. Okay, in a bigger pot, we're going to take 1.5 cups of half and half. So if you don't have half and half, which I don't, you can mix equal parts whole milk and heavy cream. So that's what I've done. And we are going to turn on our burner and let's do medium high. And I have my candy thermometer here. We're gonna wait until this reaches 175 degrees Fahrenheit, which is some number in Celsius. So we're just gonna toast these pecans and we'll check back in a couple of minutes when our pecans are toasted and our cream is warm. Okay, so it's been about 4 or 5 minutes. Our pecans are toasted, not burnt, just brown, and the butter's a little over brown, but that's fine. Okay, so we've reached 175. I'm gonna turn off the half and half mixture and put in a cup of brown sugar. Oh, this is gonna splash everywhere, I just know it. See? That's okay. And we're gonna stir in the brown sugar until it dissolves. All right. I always love this step because the milk becomes such a strange color because of the brown sugar. I don't know, it looks kind of like what I imagine butterbeer looks like. We're just dissolving that in. It does look like our mixture got a little bit over 175, but I think it's gonna be fine. Okay, so we've got this all mixed in. And then we're gonna crack 2 eggs. So much packaging. Come on, there we go. Okay, so we've got our 2 eggs cracked. I'm just gonna whisk them. And then we are going to take some of our cream mixture, which is looks kind of like sweetened condensed milk, I guess. And we're gonna put it into the egg mixture. And we're doing this so that the egg will slowly adjust to the heat of the mixture and not cook. So you put a little bit of the hot mixture in and whisk constantly before you pour it all back into the pan. All right. I'm holding this whisk in quite a weird way, but that's fine. All right, that probably should be good. Okay. It's one of my biggest problems. Where do I put all my things? Okay. So we're whisking this, and we're gonna slowly pour it into this, whisking constantly. So just make sure that that egg doesn't cook. And this is the custard that we are making as the base of our ice cream. All right. Whisk that in, and then we're gonna turn the heat on, and it's going to get up to 160. So as soon as it gets to 160, we're at about 140 now because it's cooled with being removed from the heat. I actually don't know if you need to whisk this constantly, but I just tend to because I'm very risk averse as a person. I should also mention I am using a recipe from tasteofhome.com. I usually like to cook from cookbooks, but I found this recipe and I've done it a couple times and I like it because it gives you the temperatures for the candy thermometer. Some recipes are a lot less specific and they're like, cool. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Okay, so we're still at 145. We'll get there. Maybe we'll check back in. Who knows how long this will take. Okay, so we've got this at 170. It says it should coat the back of a metal spoon. So basically that it has some sort of structure. It's not just liquid that when you draw a line in the back of a metal spoon, though, it doesn't just immediately spread back over. So we've got the desired temperature. And this goes immediately into an ice bath. All right, hopefully I added the correct amount of water. Okay, we'll just hold on to this. I don't want any ice water getting into our mixture. Okay, so I'm going to pour in a half cup of heavy cream. Just mix that in. Swirling the colors together. And then, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Thank you, Michael. All right, we've got, and we're just gonna put in, I'm sure it's like a tablespoon or a teaspoon, some amount of vanilla. Some amount. Ooh. All right, so we're gonna just mix this together. And we're gonna stir it for about 2 minutes just to make sure that it is cooling and that, you know, that it gets chewy. All right, so we're moving from our ice bath. And I would like to thank the mystery person who sent me these wrap, which I have been longing for. I got it in the mail yesterday and it was such a wonderful treat and I'm very grateful. So if you sent me bees wrap, let me know so I can thank you properly. So we're gonna take our bees wrap, because we don't have to use plastic wrap anymore, and you press it down onto the surface of the custard. I don't know why you do this, but this recipe has worked well and I'm not gonna mess with it. That's pretty good. Okay, and so we're gonna put this in the fridge for about 2 hours so it can cool completely. Our pecans, oh, I do have a spot in the fridge. Hello. Our pecans are just gonna cool. They can sit on the counter, it's fine. All right, so it's been about 2 hours. We're gonna take off our bees wrap. And we're gonna, let's just make sure we get every bit of custardy goodness possible. I have sometimes in the past just proposed making butter ice cream, but because this custard mixture is just amazing. But I do think it needs pecans and that butter ice cream is too indulgent. But Maybe someday I'll make it. All right, so we're just gonna mix in the pecans that have been on the counter cooling all this time. Ooh, it really does smell quite good. All right, and then we're gonna turn on our ice cream mixer. If you don't have an ice cream mixer, you can put it into a 13 by 9 pan, put it in the freezer, and then every hour or so disturb the mixture. And we're gonna pour, let's see if I can do this. Let's move this out here. Let's see if I can pour this without wasting any, because this is precious cargo. And it's gonna mix for anywhere between 25 and 45 minutes. You'll know that it's done when, if you're using an ice cream maker, the top and the bottom start to click, so it becomes so thick that it can't really mix anymore. And so we'll check in as this process happens. So you can see that the ice cream is really starting to thicken. And so it's been about 15 minutes, so we'll give it a lot longer, but yummy.
So we've just accepted that it's not going to click. It's really thick, but it's not going to click. So we are going to turn it off, and then we're going to unlock the top, lift off. Then we got to get the stirrer out, but a bunch of ice cream is going to be connected to it. So it's a little method I call tapping.
I left you out the stirry guy. The spatula.
All right, well, we'll get to that then. So these are our reusable ice cream jars. Does anyone call them that, Michael? No, probably not. All right, so we unzhuzh this, and they go into our ice cream cartons. Who knows?
Are they quartz?
They are quartz. They are quartz, and they're dishwasher safe. I went all out for Erin's birthday this year, so that's where you see a lot of her little gadgets related to ice cream, because I knew that this was in her heart to make. So it's pretty creamy right now. It's going to get firmer as it stays in the freezer. And I think, if Erin can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's supposed to stay in the freezer before you eat it for a couple of hours.
Yeah, about 2 hours. All right, so does it make just about a quart of ice cream?
Yeah.
Perfect. That's sanitary.
We're doing our best. We're doing our best. It's gonna pop right in, and we will check back in when it is firmer. All right. For the final verdict, I have an ice cream dish, spoon, and scoop. This scoop has antifreeze, I believe, in the handle. So it, oh, look at that. Well, it's still very soft, but we're gonna enjoy it all the same. It's perfect. Oh my goodness, and the flavor just keeps coming.
It is soft, but it seems extra creamy for some reason. Like in a good way.
It's excellent.
What would you give it?
18 out of 2. Yeah, 9 times the best.
I would give it, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It's so close to being a 10, but...
What's keeping you from a 10 on this one?
That we were too impatient.
You feel arrogant?
No, that we were too impatient. And we waited about 2 hours for this to kind of solidify, which it did, but you really need to let it sit overnight. Not gonna happen. So, delicious. Bye!
Well, are you stuck in your house with nothing to do? Erin is here to bake with you. Quarantine baking with Erin.